In the next 4 minutes, I am going to show you something that 3 intelligence agencies are currently trying to keep quiet. I am going to show you the exact moment that Iran crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed, and I am going to show you the response that America has already prepared. A response that is so precise, so total, and so permanent that when it happens, the map of the Middle East will look completely different the following morning. My name is Professor Jiang. I have studied war and geopolitics for 41 years. I have watched governments rise and fall. I have watched empires overreach and collapse. And I am telling you with complete certainty right now, what you are about to hear in this video is the most important geopolitical analysis I have ever recorded. Do not skip this video. Do not scroll past this video, because if you miss what I am about to tell you, you will spend the next 6 months watching events unfold on your screen and not understanding why they are happening. And understanding why they are happening is the difference between panic and preparation. Stay with me. Before I go deeper, I want to reveal my secret. People keep asking me, sir, how are you so active at 63? But a few years ago, I was in constant pain, legs, body, no sleep, no focus. I had to stop my research and predictions. I tried everything. I spent thousands of dollars, nothing worked. Then I started using advanced amino formula. Within just 2 weeks, I felt stronger, more active, my pain reduced. I felt younger again. It's made in the USA with natural ingredients. Don't worry, I've added the buy link in the description and pinned comment. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's zero risk. If you're struggling with leg pain, body pain, brain fog, or low energy, I recommend you try it for 2 weeks. Your pain will reduce, your energy will come back, and your mind will feel clear again. This is my guarantee. Now let's get back to what matters. To understand what Iran did, to truly understand the scale and the implications of Iran striking American assets, you first have to understand the history, the 40-year history of a confrontation that has been building toward exactly this moment. Like a dam that has been cracking for 4 decades and is now breaking. The relationship between Iran and the United States has never been normal. Not since 1979, not since the Islamic Revolution removed the American-backed Shah from power, not since Iranian students stormed the American embassy in Tehran and held 52 Americans hostage for 444 days. 444 days. That humiliation burned itself into the American national memory, and it has never fully healed. And every policy decision that America has made regarding Iran since 1979 carries the shadow of that humiliation. But what has changed, what has fundamentally shifted in the relationship between these two countries, is that Iran has spent those 40 years building military capabilities, building a nuclear program, building a regional network of proxy forces, with the specific goal of making itself too costly to attack directly, of creating a deterrence through the threat of regional chaos. And for 40 years, that strategy worked. For 40 years, American administrations looked at Iran and decided that the cost of military confrontation was higher than the cost of continued containment. Not anymore, because what changed is Trump, and what changed is Israel's growing certainty that a nuclear-armed Iran is an existential threat that cannot be deterred or contained indefinitely. And what changed is Iran's own growing desperation as its economy collapses under sanctions, as its proxies suffer defeats, as its internal legitimacy weakens. And when a regime grows desperate, it makes decisions that it would not make from a position of strength. And Iran made one of those decisions. And now everything is different. Let me tell you exactly what happened. Let me give you the specifics that the mainstream media is dancing around. Because the mainstream media is very good at telling you that something happened, but they are not always willing to tell you what it actually means. When Iran struck American military assets, it was not random. It was not impulsive. It was calculated, but it was calculated with a flawed assumption, and that flawed assumption is what makes this moment so dangerous. The Iranian leadership believed, based on their assessment of American domestic politics, based on their reading of Trump's personality and priorities, that a limited strike on American assets would create political pressure inside America that would force Trump to negotiate rather than escalate. They believed that American public opinion, tired of Middle Eastern wars, would constrain Trump's response. They believed that the economic cost of a regional war, the oil price spike, the market volatility, would make a strong American military response politically impossible. They were wrong on every single calculation. First, they misunderstood Trump. Trump is not a president who responds to pressure by backing down. Trump is a president who responds to pressure by escalating. Because Trump's entire political identity is built on the idea that America is strong, that America does not back down, and that any leader who threatens American assets will pay a price that is far greater than whatever they thought they would gain. And second, they misunderstood the American military establishment which has wanted to deal with Iran's nuclear program for years, which has been building the targeting packages, refining the intelligence, positioning the assets, waiting for exactly this kind of justification. Because here is something that most people do not understand about how American military action works. The military does not decide when to strike. The military decides how to strike, and they have known how to strike Iran for years. They have been waiting for the political permission, and Iran just gave it to them. Now, let me tell you about the Pentagon's actual response plan, because this is the part that should make everyone watching this video sit very still and pay very close attention. The American military's plan for Iran is not simply a response plan. It is a transformation plan. It is designed not just to punish Iran for striking American assets, but to permanently eliminate Iran's ability to threaten America or Israel or regional stability ever again. And it operates in layers of simultaneous action that are designed to overwhelm Iran's ability to respond at every level. The first layer is air power, and what the American military has available in terms of air power in the region right now is staggering. We are talking about F-22 Raptors, F-35 Joint Strike Fighters, B-2 Spirit stealth bombers that can fly from the continental United States, strike targets inside Iran, and return without ever being detected by Iranian radar systems. We are talking about cruise missiles launched from American submarines sitting quietly in the Persian Gulf and the Arabian Sea. Cruise missiles that Iran's air defense systems cannot track reliably. We are talking about carrier strike groups with more air power than most countries possess in their entire military inventory. The second layer is cyber warfare. And this is the layer that most people forget, but that military analysts consider to be potentially decisive on its own. America's cyber capabilities against Iran have been developed and refined since at least 2007, since the Stuxnet operation that destroyed Iranian centrifuges at the Natanz nuclear facility without a single bomb being dropped or a single soldier crossing a border. What America can do to Iranian military communication systems, to Iranian radar networks, to Iranian command and control infrastructure in the opening minutes of a conflict is something that Iran has not fully understood and has not fully prepared for, and the demonstration of that capability would be psychologically as devastating as any physical strike. The third layer is naval, and the American naval presence in the region gives the military the ability to close the Strait of Hormuz from the outside, to prevent Iranian naval assets from threatening commercial shipping, and to conduct strikes from multiple directions simultaneously, preventing Iran from concentrating its defenses in any one area. And the fourth layer, the layer that changes everything, is Israel. Because Israel does not need American permission to strike Iran, Israel has already demonstrated the willingness to enter Iranian airspace. Israel has the specific intelligence on Iranian nuclear facilities that comes from decades of human intelligence operations inside Iran, intelligence that America relies on, and Israel has made it publicly and privately clear that it considers the elimination of the Iranian nuclear program to be a matter of national survival. So when we talk about what America does in response to Iran striking American assets, we are not talking about America acting alone. We are talking about America and Israel acting in coordination, with America providing the strategic air power and the naval blockade capability, and Israel providing the precise targeting intelligence and the willingness to strike facilities that even America might hesitate to hit directly. This combination, this American-Israeli military combination operating with genuine coordination and genuine shared purpose, is something that Iran has never faced before, and it is something that Iran's military planners have been quietly terrified of for years, because individually, America or Israel is a serious military threat to Iran. Together, fully coordinated, with clear political will and legal justification, they represent something that the Iranian military simply cannot defeat. Now I want to tell you about what Trump's specific decision point looks like, because Trump is not a man who makes decisions slowly, and the situation with Iran is now reaching the moment where Trump has to decide between two very different paths, and the choice he makes in the next weeks will determine the shape of the world for the next decade. Path one is the deal. Trump is a deal maker. This is not just a personality trait, it is a fundamental strategic preference. Trump genuinely believes that every conflict has a deal waiting to be made, that every adversary has a price at which they will negotiate, and that a deal, even an imperfect deal, is better than a war that creates chaos and uncertainty. So there is a version of this story where Trump uses the military response options as leverage, uses the threat of total military devastation as the pressure that forces Iran to the negotiating table, and reaches an agreement on the nuclear program that he can present as a historic Trump achievement, better than the Iran deal of 2015, stronger, more permanent, more comprehensive. That is path one. Path two is the strike. And path 2 happens if Iran does not come to the negotiating table, or if Iran comes to the table but negotiates in bad faith, buying time to advance its nuclear program while pretending to negotiate, which is a strategy Iran has used before and that American intelligence has documented. If path 2 is chosen, it will be a strike unlike anything the Middle East has seen since the Gulf War, and it will be designed with one specific objective: setting back the Iranian nuclear program by not just 2 or 3 years, but by a decade or more, destroying not just the centrifuges and the enrichment facilities, but the supply chains, the scientific infrastructure, the knowledge base that allows Iran to rebuild. And the willingness to do that, the willingness to strike that deep and that hard, is something that Trump's team has communicated through every back channel available, and Iran knows it is real, which is actually Iran's only hope that path 1 happens instead of path 2. Now let me give you the 30-day prediction, because I know that what you want to know, what every person watching this video wants to know, is what happens next and when, and I have been doing this long enough to give you a structured prediction with honest probability assessments. In the next 30 days, the most important indicator to watch is whether Iran makes any form of diplomatic contact with American intermediaries. If Iran reaches out through Oman, through Qatar, through any of the back channels that have historically been used for Iran-America communication, that is a signal that path 1 is still possible, that the Iranian leadership has assessed the military threat as real and has decided that survival of the regime is more important than nuclear ambitions. If Iran goes silent, if Iran continues its proxy activities, if Iran's leadership makes public statements about resistance and defiance, that is the signal that they are either miscalculating again, or they have made the decision that they would rather face the military consequences than accept the terms America is offering. And if that second scenario unfolds, then the military timeline that I believe is already prepared moves from contingency to activation, and the world changes permanently in ways that will reshape every single country in that region. The oil markets will convulse. The global economy will feel the shock. Refugee movements will create humanitarian crises that Europe and Asia will spend years managing. And the question of what comes after the Iranian regime, the question that no one in Washington or Tel Aviv has satisfactorily answered, will become the most urgent foreign policy question in the world. I want to be honest with you about something, because I believe the people who watch my channel deserve honesty more than they deserve comfortable predictions. I do not know with certainty which path this goes down. Nobody does. Not the American intelligence community, not the Israeli military, not the Iranian supreme leader, because what we are watching is a situation where decisions are being made by human beings under extreme pressure, with incomplete information, with domestic political constraints, with historical grudges and fears that influence judgment in ways that are impossible to fully account for. What I know is that the margin for error has never been smaller. What I know is that the consequences of a miscalculation have never been larger. And what I know is that the people who are best positioned to navigate what comes next are the people who understand what is actually happening. Not the version of events that is designed to be politically comfortable, but the real version, the version that I have spent 41 years learning how to see clearly. There is one more thing I want to tell you before I close this analysis, something that I do not say in every video, something that I feel I need to say today because of the seriousness of what we are discussing. War is always described by the people who start it in terms of strategy and interest and necessity. And sometimes those descriptions are accurate. Sometimes there is a genuine threat that must be confronted, a genuine choice between acting now with limited cost or waiting until the cost is catastrophic. But war always has a human cost that the strategies and the interest and the necessity cannot fully account for, a cost paid by ordinary people. Iranian people who did not choose their government, American soldiers who volunteered to serve but did not sign up for a regional war, Israeli citizens who live within missile range of adversaries on every border, Lebanese families, Yemeni children, Syrian civilians, all of whom live at the intersection of these great power calculations. I say this not because I am naive about the reality of geopolitics. I have spent 41 years being not naive about it. I say it because I believe that understanding the human cost is as important as understanding the strategic cost, and that any analysis that leaves out the human dimension is an incomplete analysis. What happens next in this confrontation between Iran and America matters enormously for the strategy of nations, but it matters even more for the people who will live or not live through the consequences of those strategic decisions. Watch this space. Come back to this channel and share this video with everyone you believe deserves to understand what is actually happening in the world. I am Professor Jiang. This is the analysis that mainstream media will not give you. And I will be back with the next development the moment it matters enough to analyze. Stay safe, stay prepared, and stay informed. Because in the world we are entering, Information is the only armor that ordinary people have,